Did you know? Every minute, somewhere in the world, someone dies from heart failure, and nearly half of them have no idea their heart is in danger. They still go to work, still cook, still laugh with their loved ones, until one morning they wake up unable to breathe. And by then, it's too late. I once had a patient who used to say, "Lately, I get tired just walking through the grocery store. It's probably just old age." A few weeks later, she was rushed to the emergency room. Her heart simply couldn't pump enough blood to keep her body alive. What makes heart failure so frightening isn't that it kills quickly. It's that it creeps in silently. Its first signs are small, ordinary, easy to overlook, until they turn into a storm inside your chest. Today, I want you to stop for just a few minutes and listen with me to the 5 most common warning signs of heart failure. Signals that, if you notice them early enough, could save your life. Let me tell you a story about how your heart whispers for help and how you can hear it before it stops speaking forever. 1. Shortness of breath during light activity. I want you to imagine this. It's a quiet morning. Sunlight filters through your window. You step outside to grab the newspaper or water the flowers. But as you bend down, your heart starts pounding faster than usual. Your breathing becomes shallow. After just a few steps, you have to stop. You think to yourself, "I'm just a little tired. Must be my age." But after more than 30 years of working with people over 50, I can tell you, sometimes it's more than just being tired. My name is Dr. John Miller. I've seen too many patients come to me too late, when they believed everything they felt was just part of getting older. One man, 62 years old, a retired firefighter, once told me, "Doc, I get short of breath just taking the trash out." He laughed and said, "Guess I'm slowing down." 6 months later, he was hospitalized with stage 3 heart failure. I'll never forget him sitting in that hospital bed, gripping my hand and saying, "I wish I had come sooner." That moment has never left me. Shortness of breath during light activity is one of the earliest and clearest signs of heart failure. Yet it's also the easiest one to ignore. Your heart, the most extraordinary engine nature ever built, is working twice as hard to keep blood flowing. And when it starts to weaken, it can't pump enough oxygen-rich blood to your muscles, leaving you tired, winded, even from the smallest effort. Have you ever felt that way? Climbing just a few steps, or walking to your mailbox and gasping for air as if you'd just run a race? If your answer is yes, please, don't brush it off as normal. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you so you'll listen to your body. One thing I always tell my patients is, the heart never stays silent. It's always trying to tell you something. The question is, are you listening? Shortness of breath is the first voice of a tired heart. I remember a woman named Helen, 68 years old. She came to see me because she felt a little breathless when cleaning the house. She thought it was because she hadn't exercised much. But when we ran an echocardiogram, her heart was enlarged. It wasn't pumping enough blood. We started early treatment, and within a few months, her strength and breathing improved dramatically. She told me, "I never thought one small symptom could save my life." That day, I realized something simple but profound. The difference between being fine and being in danger can be as small as paying attention. When we're young, we can climb 3 flights of stairs without even noticing. But as we age, our blood vessels stiffen, our heart muscles thicken, and pressure builds inside our chest. Your heart starts working harder than ever before. The scary part is that shortness of breath usually starts mild. Just a small hitch. Many people think, maybe I ate too much, or it's just the humidity. But week after week, month after month, the breathing gets shorter, sleep becomes restless, and your body starts sending stronger warnings. I once read a study from the American Heart Association that found nearly 60% of heart failure patients said they had felt shortness of breath at least 6 months before diagnosis, but none of them thought it was serious. 6 months. That's the window when we could have stopped the disease from progressing, saved the heart from irreversible damage, So next time you feel short of breath, pause for a moment. Listen to your body. Ask yourself, is my heart working too hard? Should I get my heart checked? Because the most dangerous part of heart failure is not realizing you're heading toward it. Many of us, especially after 50, tend to endure quietly. We don't want to bother anyone or go to the doctor just for a little fatigue. But I've seen too many people pay dearly for that silence. The heart doesn't always ache. Sometimes it simply breathes weaker. If you're hearing my voice right now, take this as a gentle reminder from a doctor and from a man in his 60s. Never take your breath for granted, because every breath is a heartbeat whispering to you, I'm still here, but I need your help. I've always believed that understanding your body is one of the purest forms of self-love. Let every breath, every step, be a quiet thank you to your heart, that faithful companion that's been with you through every moment of your life. So, if this morning you found yourself breathing a little heavier or feeling tired from simple chores, don't ignore it. Get your heart checked, because in medicine, early detection is life's second chance. And who knows, one simple doctor's visit today might give you enough breath to laugh, to hug your grandchild, to live many more beautiful years with the people you love. Listen to your breath, because it's your heart speaking. 2. Having to sleep sitting up or with extra pillows to breathe. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, feeling like someone was sitting right on your chest? You try to take a deep breath, but no matter how hard you try, the air just won't come in. Then you sit up, and suddenly you can breathe again. For many people, that's the only way they can get through the night. They stack 2, sometimes 3 pillows behind their back, or even sleep half sitting in bed. Most of them think it's just part of getting older, or maybe allergies acting up. But the truth is, your heart is crying out for help. When your heart grows weaker, it can't pump blood as efficiently as it used to. Some of that blood backs up into the lungs, and fluid starts to seep into the lung tissue. When you lie flat, that fluid spreads evenly, and suddenly your lungs have less room to breathe. But when you sit up, gravity pulls the fluid down, and your lungs can open up again. That's why sitting helps. We doctors call it orthopnea, shortness of breath when lying flat. I once had a patient named Susan, 71 years old. She told me she had to sleep with 3 pillows under her head and often woke up gasping for air. I thought it was just a cold, or maybe asthma, she said with a tired smile. I never imagined it was my heart. The moment she said that, I knew we had to check. Her echocardiogram showed that her left ventricle, the main pumping chamber, had weakened. Blood wasn't flowing properly, and fluid had built up in her lungs. We started treatment, a mild diuretic, a low-sodium diet, and gentle daily walks. 3 months later, Susan came back to my office and said, "Doctor, last night I slept flat for the first time in years." And she smiled, the kind of smile that says, "I can breathe again." That's when I realized something simple but profound. Listening to your body can change your entire life. Have you ever had to sit up to breathe at night? Or found yourself needing more pillows just to fall asleep? If so, please don't brush it off. Your body doesn't lie. It whispers, hoping you'll pay attention before it has to scream. I know. Once we reach our 50s, 60s, and beyond, it's easy to accept every ache and change as just aging. But not everything is about age. Sometimes it's your heart working too hard and quietly asking for a little help. The good news is, your heart can recover if you catch it early. Modern medicine has shown that people who recognize heart failure symptoms early and make simple lifestyle changes, less salt, better sleep, moderate exercise, can live another 10 to 15 years with strong, steady hearts. Think about it. Something as small as noticing your pillow could be the first step towards saving your life. A restless night might seem like nothing, but from what I've seen, it can be the beginning of your body's biggest warning sign. And believe me, you don't need to fear these signs. You just need to notice them and act early. I often tell my patients, your heart doesn't need you to understand medical terms. It just needs you to care enough to notice when it's struggling. So, if tonight you find yourself sitting up to breathe or stacking another pillow under your head, take it as a gentle reminder from your body, not to scare you, but to remind you that your heart is still here, still fighting, and still needs your care. Because every peaceful breath you take in the middle of the night is a precious gift, and you deserve to breathe easily, to sleep deeply, without waking up just to fight for air.
3. Swollen ankles, feet, or sudden weight gain, a few pounds in just days. I want you to do something simple for me right now. Look down at your feet. Do they ever look a little swollen by the end of the day? Maybe your shoes feel tighter than usual, or when you pull off your socks, they leave deep marks on your skin. Most people think, it's just from standing too long, or maybe I had too much salt today. But sometimes, your feet are quietly telling the story of your heart. When the heart starts to weaken, it can't pump blood back up as effectively. Gravity pulls the fluid down to the lowest parts of the body, your feet, ankles, and legs. That's where the swelling begins, slowly, quietly, without pain. You just notice a little tightness, a bit of heaviness. But in reality, that's your blood pooling and your heart struggling to keep up with the work it once did so easily. I'll never forget a man named Robert, 67 years old, a kind, soft-spoken carpenter. He came into my office and said, "Doc, my feet have been puffy lately. Must be from sitting too much." When I asked how much weight he'd gained recently, he laughed. "Maybe 6 or 7 pounds this week, but I've been eating the same." That's when I knew. It wasn't fat, it was fluid. We ran a few tests, and sure enough, his heart was beginning to fail, just slightly, but enough to make his kidneys hold on to extra salt and water. After a few weeks of treatment, medication, a low-sodium diet, and some light daily walks, he came back smiling. "Doc, my feet look normal again. I can even fit into my old work boots." That moment reminded me of something simple but powerful. Your feet reflect the health of your heart. Most people don't realize gaining just 2 or 3 pounds, about 1 to 1.5 kilos in just a few days, can be an early warning that your body is holding on to fluid because your heart isn't pumping efficiently. I always tell my patients, the scale in your bathroom doesn't just measure your weight, it measures the condition of your heart. So if one morning your pants feel tighter, your shoes don't fit quite right, or your feet seem swollen, don't ignore it. Pay attention. Weigh yourself once a day. And if the number jumps up quickly without any big changes in your eating, it's time to get checked. I understand, most of us don't like talking about illness. We don't want to admit that we're getting older. But your heart doesn't care how old you are. It just needs a little help when it's tired. A woman once told me, "Doctor, I didn't think my swollen feet had anything to do with my heart. I just rubbed on some ointment and thought it would go away." I looked at her and said gently, "Sometimes the smallest signs are the biggest warnings." The heart is the engine of your body, but it doesn't have its own voice, so it sends messages through its distant friends, your feet, your hands, your face. When the heart weakens, your feet swell. When the lungs fill with fluid, you start coughing. When the brain doesn't get enough blood, you feel dizzy. Everything is connected, and your body is always honest. So please remember this. If both of your feet are swollen, or your weight suddenly goes up a few pounds in just a few days, it's not just water. It might be your heart asking for help. The good news is if we catch it early, most cases can be managed and even improved. It starts with awareness. Each night, take a moment to look at your feet. Place a hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Because sometimes your heart doesn't need you to love it with words. It just needs you to notice when it's getting tired. Many of my patients have come back months later and told me, "Doctor, ever since I started paying attention to my feet, I feel like I understand my body better than ever." And honestly, that's what makes this job worth it for me. Seeing someone truly listen to themselves. Because understanding your body's signals, that's how you extend your life. through awareness and self-care. And you know what? Healthy feet are a sign of a heart that's being cared for with love. So today, start with something simple. Lighten the burden on your heart by paying attention to your feet. 4. Unexplained fatigue when rest isn't enough. Have you ever woken up in the morning after what seemed like a full night's sleep, yet felt like your body was made of lead? You grab a cup of coffee, hoping it'll wake you up, then another and another, but the exhaustion lingers. You start wondering, I'm sleeping fine, eating okay, so why do I still feel so drained? I've heard that same question from hundreds of people, and often the answer isn't about sleep, it's about the heart. When your heart starts to weaken, it can't pump enough oxygen-rich blood to the rest of your body. Your muscles, your brain, every organ begins to ration oxygen just to get by. And just like an engine running low on fuel, your body slows down. You feel tired, sluggish, even if you haven't done much at all. One of my patients, Linda, 65, a retired elementary school teacher, once told me, "Doctor, I don't get it. I'm retired, I sleep more than ever, but I keep feeling exhausted. Even cleaning the house makes me sit down to rest." At first, she thought it was just aging, but tests showed that her heart had started to weaken. Her body simply wasn't getting enough oxygen, so no amount of rest could make her feel better. I'll never forget the look in her eyes when I told her, "It's not that you're getting weaker, it's that your heart has been struggling alone for too long." We began early treatment, a healthier diet, gentle exercise, and some medication. Just a few months later, she smiled and said, "I never realized how much my heart affected my energy. I feel alive again." You see, sometimes fatigue doesn't come from the body, it comes from a tired heart. Many people think, "I just need more rest," but no amount of rest is enough if your heart is still overworking every minute of the day. Have you ever felt exhausted just walking a short distance or doing light chores around the house? Do you ever feel like your energy's been drained even when your mind wants to do more? If so, don't ignore it. That could be an early sign that your blood isn't circulating properly, that your cells are hungry for oxygen. I often say the heart is our silent companion. It works nonstop, from the day we're born until our last breath. But when it starts to weaken, it doesn't scream for help. It whispers, through fatigue, shortness of breath, and a quiet sense that something's off. That's its way of saying, "I'm doing my best, can you help me a little?" Science shows that in early stages of heart failure, stress hormones rise, muscles weaken, and sleep becomes shallow. Everything feels harder. But the good news is, if caught early, this process can be reversed. When the heart gets the right support, blood flows better, oxygen returns to every cell, and life's energy comes back. I've seen patients come back to tell me, "I can walk around the park again. I can garden without getting winded. I wake up feeling light and clear." That's not magic. That's the science of paying attention in time. So next time you feel tired for no reason, pause. Don't blame age. Don't brush it off with, "Maybe I overdid it yesterday." Ask yourself one simple question. Could my heart be asking for a little rest? A simple heart checkup could be the difference between fatigue and a health crisis. And if your heart is sending signals, be grateful. It's still strong enough to warn you. I'm 60 years old. I know what tired feels like, but I've learned some kinds of fatigue aren't about age. They're about forgetting to listen to the one friend who's been with us all along, our heart. So today, if you feel worn out for no clear reason, take it as a gentle reminder from within. Your heart doesn't need you to be stronger. It just needs you to care. Listen to your body, because sometimes fatigue is the softest way your heart asks for help.
5. A racing or irregular heartbeat when your heart starts dancing. Have you ever lain still in the middle of the night, the room completely silent, and suddenly become aware of your heartbeat, pounding fast, hard, almost as if it's trying to break free from your chest? Some people tell me it feels like their heart is dancing wildly. Others say it's like a drum that suddenly skips a beat, and that pause makes them freeze in fear. Have you ever felt that? One of my former patients, Thomas, a 68-year-old Navy veteran, once told me that one evening while watching TV, he felt a heavy pressure in his chest. Then, out of nowhere, his heart began to pound, fast, erratic, relentless. He stood up, walked around, took deep breaths, but it wouldn't stop. He told me, "Doctor, I thought that was it. I'd never felt my heart beat so loud, so alive, and so terrifying." When we ran the tests, we discovered that his heart rhythm had become irregular, an early sign of mild heart failure. His body was trying to make up for the heart's reduced pumping ability. So it beat faster and harder, desperately working to keep blood and oxygen flowing to every organ. I told him, "Your heart isn't failing you. It's fighting for you. It's just getting tired from trying too hard." Many people think a racing heartbeat comes from stress, caffeine, or just getting older. But sometimes that's how the heart cries for help. When your heart becomes irregular, blood doesn't flow evenly. Your brain, kidneys, and muscles don't get enough oxygen. You may feel dizzy, short of breath, or suddenly lightheaded. Most people brush it off, "I'm just tired today," until the day they actually collapse. I often tell my patients the heart is the conductor of your body's orchestra. When the conductor loses rhythm, the whole orchestra falls apart. And what's more, irregular rhythm doesn't just affect your body, it affects your mind. When your heart beats unevenly, your brain senses that instability. You might feel anxious, restless, or afraid without knowing why. Some patients have told me they can't sleep because it feels like someone's knocking from inside my chest, or like my heart is tapping on the door, asking to be heard. Science confirms that mild arrhythmias in older adults can be an early warning sign of heart failure or heart muscle strain. The beautiful thing is, if detected early, it can be managed and treated. There are many possible causes: high blood pressure, diabetes, long-term stress, poor sleep, medication misuse, or simply a heart that has been overworked for too many years. But what I always tell my patients is this: if your heart is drumming in your chest, don't ignore it. Let a doctor listen to that rhythm with you. Sometimes all it takes is a simple ECG or heart ultrasound to catch the problem early and prevent something far more serious. I still remember when Thomas came back for a follow-up. He smiled and said, "Doctor, I never thought I'd be so grateful just to hear my heart beat slowly and steadily again." I smiled back and said, "That's because when a heart is listened to and cared for, it always finds its way back to peace." Now, I want you, the one watching this video, to pause for a moment. Place your hand over your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Slowly, gently. Does it feel steady? Or does it sometimes race, skip, or thump irregularly? If your heart has ever felt like it was jumping around for no reason, please don't wait. Don't tell yourself it'll go away. Go see a cardiologist. Get it checked. Because the rhythm you feel today could be tomorrow's warning letter. And above all, be grateful that you can still feel that beat, because every heartbeat, fast or slow, is a sign of life. It's your heart fighting every second to give you another sunrise, another breakfast, another smile with someone you love. The heart never betrays us. It just asks us to listen a little sooner.
You know,
The heart is the most loyal friend we'll ever have. It works day and night, year after year, so we can live, love, and laugh. But sometimes, caught up in our busy lives, we forget to listen. Those small things, the fatigue, the shortness of breath, the skipped beats, the nighttime cough, the slight swelling in your feet, they're not random. They're the language of the heart. Quiet messages, but deeply honest ones. I've met many people who caught the signs early, and they're still living well, joyfully, savoring every new morning. The real difference wasn't just medication. It was awareness and self-love arriving in time. So, before this video ends, place your hand on your chest once more. If your heartbeat is still strong and steady, whisper softly to yourself, "Thank you, heart.